All right, everybody. Well, welcome to Red Grace Live. As always, my name is Emilio Ramos, and I am here today with Micah Whitehead. Micah, you are controlling the technology tonight because we are live.
Live.
How do you feel? You feel good about yourself?
Well, I just made a mistake right there, but other than that, I feel great.
How do you feel about yourself now?
Oh, man, I feel great. It's going to be fun.
Hey, we're talking about some pretty exciting things, some pretty interesting things, actually. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, we're talking about a recent interview that just happened between Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. And honestly, focusing tonight a little bit more on Alex Jones. And one of the reasons why, of course, is because Alex Jones is known to many people as a very polarizing figure, somebody that lacks no controversial sort of reputation at all. His reputation precedes, for sure. But the reason we wanted to discuss Alex Jones and this interview with Tucker Carlson is because of the subjects that they had tackled on that interview that I thought were kind of remarkable for many reasons. But one of the reasons why is, Micah, I don't know if you're able to check. I'm not on Twitter. You're a Twitter guy, not me. But
yeah,
the last time I checked, this thing had 10 million views or something like that in 24 hours.
Yes, I'm not big on the Twitter analytics and how they count a view, but I know that it's Alex Jones, B, it's Tucker. It's going to get an insane amount of views.
Yeah.
But it's also an hour and 20 minutes long or something like that. So you got to find the people that are, really interested in what these two have to say. I listened to it. You listened to it. So.
Yeah, I listened. I watched it and fast forwarded through some things that I wasn't interested in.
Right.
To try to get to the things that I was really interested in, which, of course, had to do with how all of the discussion surrounding globalism and transhumanism and the CBDC system, together with a digital ID, how all of that informs the Christian worldview and what I have been discussing for the last several years in terms of a new apologetics of Christianity, which, again, is stressing this idea that we have to change not our methodology in apologetics, but that we need to expand our focus. That, yes, we will always contend with the major religions of the world. We're always going to contend with sort of the typical apologetics kind of themes and ideas and groups and cults and religions, whether we're talking about philosophy, whether we're talking about atheism or secularism or agnosticism or skepticism of some kind, whether we're talking about humanism or rationalism. That's fine. We're never going to stop talking about those things. And we're never going to stop talking about Islam and Catholicism and Mormonism and things like that, Christian cults. But I have kind of been making the argument here lately that this new and emerging trend towards globalism on one hand, transhumanism on the other hand, because transhumanism is connected to post-humanist thought or post-humanist philosophy. That's another thing. And then we're talking about paganism, both of a paganism that affects, obviously, spirituality and pagan sexuality. But, what Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones brought up, which is another very remarkable issue that has emerged in recent times, is the whole discussion around a CBDC system, a central banking digital currency, if you didn't know what that meant, where basically you can say goodbye to cash, you can say hello to the ability to track every transaction that you make. And you might, if you're really smart, you might say, well, they can do that already, because everywhere where you slide your card or you tap your card now, now we've got the tap feature.
Yeah.
Why is it, Micah, that tap feature, why is it that it hardly ever works for me? Does it work for you? What's wrong with this tap thing?
It's because you don't just tap it; you actually have to hold it there, Emilio. Don't just be smacking everything with your credit card, thinking everything's going to work.
I am kind of known for being a bit too brutish at times, and so okay, tap and hold, huh?
Yes, tap and hold.
Tap and hold. Okay. Well, the CBDC is something altogether different because they are intent on rolling out a kind of cashless society where it's not just about tracking everything, but having the ability to track everything by putting everything underneath the skin. So we're talking about implantable technology.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I have a lot to say about this subject right here. But this is what we're talking about in terms of a new apologetics. How does a total globalist kind of ideology and globalism, we can debate whether there are such things as globalists. Some people won't even accept that kind of idea. But I don't think you can deny globalism, that there's an increasing push to kind of bring everything together into one socioeconomic system that's global in nature, connected to the banking system, to worldwide legislation, and to culture. Of course, that culture, the way that looks, is immigration. And this idea of cultural integration or to integrationism, multiculturalism, whatever you want to call it, and we can debate the merits of what has happened there. But with globalism, if you don't think this is a Christian issue, with globalism comes issues like pluralism, which pluralism is what we are debating in Christian apologetics. We're debating whether or not you can have, sort of an amalgamation of religions, an ecumenical frenzy of sorts where one religion is just as good as another. And in that sense, you're divulging into a form of postmodernism, relativism, existentialism, and all of the different isms that come directly against and are diametrically opposite to the Christian worldview.
Yeah.
Because it was Jesus, of course, who said, "I'm the way, the truth, the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through me." And so a statement that is so absolutely exclusive, that just doesn't allow for things like pluralism.
Right.
And so we got to get to all those issues. Now, Micah, did you watch the interview? Did you say you watched it?
I did watch it.
You did watch it?
Yeah, all an hour and 23 or 26 minutes of it. Which is really hard for me because the only way I can tolerate Alex Jones is whenever he's on somebody else's program that I normally listen to, which being on Tucker, that is the case. But I struggle with Alex, so it's fun to see him.
Let's
go ahead.
Yeah, let's jump into that before you get to bashing Alex Jones, which is so easy to do.
Sorry.
I'll do a little bit of myself too. I'll do quite a bit of it myself here in a moment. But let me have the first word, and then also for people that are jumping in to the chat there on YouTube, if you have a question about tonight's content, make sure and post that. Micah will do the best job he can to try to put it up for people to see it, or at least we can read it off, right?
Yep.
Or something like that.
At least we'll read it off.
We'll read it off. You'll have some kind of representation.
Yes.
You'll have some kind of representation in the metaverse.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, let me have the first word and then we'll start.
Sounds good.
Well, I don't know where it was or where I was when it was, several years ago now, probably 15, 20 years ago now, I don't remember, when I was first introduced to one Alex Jones. And back then, Alex Jones was talking about the New World Order, and he was talking about the Illuminati, and he was talking about Bohemian Grove and all these kinds of conspiracy theories that came to be known as wild-eyed conspiracy theories of a secret cabal that is controlling society and pulling the strings behind the scene and sort of manipulating reality and everything that we know. And Alex Jones basically came to be synonymous with conspiracy theorists. So you would hear somebody at a bar or at a, at the cooler during timeout, or, at the lunch break, somebody talking about, you don't want to be a conspiracy theorist like Alex Jones. And certainly when I first was exposed to Alex Jones, that was my perspective. My perspective is that Alex Jones kind of represents a fringe movement. He's kind of out there in outer space, and you don't want to come anywhere near that, especially if you're a Christian minister and you want to have a good reputation. There's only one problem with all that whole line of thinking. And the reason why we're talking about Alex Jones today, typically a channel that's dedicated to theology and Christian apologetics, but we have to discuss Alex Jones because of his recent interview with Tucker Carlson on Twitter or X. And in that interview, some of the things that came out from that interview is that the ideas of Alex Jones that used to be considered fringe and extreme and out there are now shared by many people who are otherwise considered mainstream media. I mean, Tucker Carlson, before he was fired from Fox News, was considered part of legacy media or mainstream media. And certainly, even in this interview, Tucker Carlson talks about the fact that he considered Alex Jones to be kind of crazy when he first heard about him, but over the years began to actually subscribe to some of the very talking points that Alex Jones is talking about. Matter of fact, I just recently saw a whole montage where people are talking about how Alex Jones is now real news and how that we should go to Alex Jones for news and information as a real source of news and political commentary on our culture. I don't know that I'm going to end that debate here today, but I will say this, that the things that Alex Jones has brought up and in this interview is, to me, what is remarkable about this interview is that what used to be considered absolutely fringe, absolutely outside the bounds of, orthodox media are things like globalism, transhumanism, technological singularity, the CBDC system, artificial intelligence and what they really want to do with that, and a digital ID. Now, those kinds of things have now become so mainstream that in this recent GOP presidential candidate debate that just recently took place, I forgot who put it on, News Nation or something like that. It was the one that was moderated by Megyn Kelly and others. But during that debate, whether it was Vivek Ramaswamy or Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or the other guy, what's his name, who's not going to win, what's his name, Chris Christie, they actually brought to the very forefront of their dialogue, their debate, and their interaction the whole notion of a CBDC system, a central banking digital currency. It is no longer something that exists on the fringes of the internet in some dark, chat room somewhere on somebody's extreme right-wing blog or something like that. No, now it's actually being discussed by potential future presidents of the United States of America. And that's what I thought was absolutely incredible. A little bit alarming, concerning, but definitely telling that we live in a different issue. And one of my questions has been here lately, as somebody that has studied a subject like transhumanism now for some time, as I look around into the evangelical world and into the reformed world, which I very much subscribe to, I'm wondering where is the hard research coming from in the church today that is ready to answer the challenge of what we're facing as we're staring down the barrel of the fast and quickly approaching technological singularity. For those of you that don't know what the technological singularity is, it's a phrase that was essentially coined by Ray Kurzweil about a time where biology and technology are increasingly inseparable, and a time in which technology has taken such exponential growths and leaps forward in terms of innovation and development that it becomes virtually impossible to foresee or predict what the future of technology will hold next. And in that sort of in that technological singularity comes an entire philosophy of life, an entire worldview, and the way that these people are describing the world that's right around the corner is that basically we will be living in a world where, like it or not, technology will not just be around us, on us, let's say a smartwatch, and for us, let's say a smart car or a smart house or a Ring doorbell, but technology will increasingly be in us. In other words, it will result in implantable technology, whether you're talking about computer chips, like a CBDC microchip that will go into your hand and you'll be able to check out at the grocery store using that, or whether you're talking about a BMI technological apparatus, brain machine interface, which is a computer chip or some device that goes inside of your head in your skull. You think this is crazy, but according to Elon Musk, that technology, this idea of a brain machine interface, is only a few years away. And he believes that before long, probably around 2030 or so, you're going to really see the potential for what it means to be implanted with this kind of technology. Now, again, all of this goes together, and the point is very simple. This used to be complete conspiracy theory, but now I think we are forced to contend with it. So let's talk about that.
So the first question, I love this one. This is from Trucker Bob on YouTube.
What's on your head?
Nothing.
What's that on your left? Is that? Don't tell me you've got a brain chip in your head.
No, it's my earphones. Don't be doing that kind of stuff.
You can't become a cyborg before me.
Because I actually choose to wear headphones instead of just letting it all fly with you. Hey, Trucker Bob wants to know. He's from Canada. He wants to know that since we're talking about current events, have we switched over to some Dispy theology, or is this just are we no longer covenant?
Yeah, whatever that's called.
Millennials.
No, not a chance.
No, so Alex, I'll start back into.
Well, hold on. Let me answer that a little bit more thorough because
he was joking, and so are we.
Oh, he's from Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I would just like to say this though, Mike, because I think this is important.
Okay.
The issue of eschatology is front and square. It's absolutely at the very forefront of everything that we're talking about.
Sure.
You can't sweep aside your eschatology. You can't set it aside. In this conversation, it absolutely will be brought to bear. And so, for example, obviously, a premillennialist will tell you, yes, this is kind of what the Antichrist system might be. Or if you're postmillennial, you'll say, don't worry about it. We're going to take it over, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Never mind. I'm gonna go into my rant about Alex Jones now. So here's my deal. You and I've had many discussions about this because you've always been trying to get me to watch Alex Jones because he's your Notre Dame, he's your tea leaf reader, whatever you want to call him. And my problem has always been I like some bombastic people, but he's just always been way over the top. And then even though he's right on a lot of occasions, he just seems crazy because what he says is just so far-fetched that, in the Tucker interview, he plays a clip from July of 2021 where he talks about Osama bin Laden using planes to hit the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And he didn't list out, he just casually mentioned that the World Trade Center could be one of the targets.
Could be hit, and the CIA could use somebody like Osama bin Laden to do it.
Correct.
I mean, hello.
Eyes wide open.
Instant credibility for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, to be crystal clear, that's not what interests me about Alex Jones.
Sure.
Alex Jones, to me, and I'm actually going to cover this here in a moment, is really not the real focus. Understand what we do in Christian apologetics And as we think about these things from a worldview perspective, we're taking in information. We are taking in knowledge and understanding, and we're trying to inform ourselves. When it comes to issues like transhumanism, the CBDC system, globalism, I don't really care what the source is. I want information, and I want people that are kind of at the cutting edge. And so when you get into this field of study, if you're going to study globalism, Micah, you're not going to be reading Christian authors.
Well,
you're just not.
Except for
you're going to pick up a book by Yake Adali.
You're going to watch. You're going to pick up Left Behind.
Oh, Left Behind. Oh, geez. You're going to be picking up books by Yuval Noah Harari now.
Right.
You're going to be picking up books by Eric Schmidt. You're going to be picking up those kinds of books if you really want to know the kind of globalist thinking that is going on. Same thing with technology. Matter of fact, today, I'm going to interact with this book today, The Age of Spiritual Machines. I've been talking a lot about it, but I'm going to interact with Ray Kurzweil today a little bit because it's very important. And so to me, it's not so much, is Alex Jones a reliable source of news? Do you like his personality? Is he the kind of thing you want to listen to? I don't really care. Even with Alex Jones, I filter all of his website stuff and everything. There's 90% of the stuff that he does I don't want to listen to. I don't care for. I have no use for. But when he's talking about hard-hitting facts and hard-hitting information, it's one of the reasons why people have been drawn to his platform. Now, also, he is politically conservative. And so if you're a conservative, you're going to be drawn to other political conservative folks for whatever, for people that agree with your perspective. If you want to get political pundits that talk the way that you want them to talk, you know, a lot of people are going to go to different conservative outlets, whether it's Louder with Crowder, it's, you know, Joe Rogan, which, I mean, is Joe Rogan really conservative? I don't know. But
no.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No,
right?
No,
Probably
but
not.
him and the guy on HBO.
I've never watched him. I've watched little clips of him here and there. I've never watched Joe Rogan.
But him and Bill Maher, being the not leftists, being the liberals that they are, they sound more conservative today in the political sphere just because the far leftists have gone so far off the reservation that they make the liberals sound like legitimate or conservative these days.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, what drew me to this interview, Mike, and why I wanted you to pull this all together is because what I perceived in that interview with Tucker Carlson is that for the first time, millions and millions and millions of people who would otherwise only watch mainstream outlets were watching Tucker Carlson and hearing out in the open some of the players, some of the proponents of globalism and transhumanism, and some of these ideas I mentioned in my opening, this idea that even American presidential candidates are now talking openly about the fact that America is literally on the brink of accepting a CBDC system into the American culture, American society, American life, into American economics to govern our banking and everything else. I mean, really? I mean, this is where we're at. I mean, we're one step away. Matter of fact, there are some even within the Congress who are already trying to stop this. Amazing. Really crazy times that we're living in. And this tapped into something that I've been studying for a long time.
So, you mentioned the folks that are stepping up in Congress to stop this, but I'm kind of taking more of a pessimistic view in that it's already in the works. To use one of your phrases, the globalists have planned it. This is what's going to happen. We will not own anything, and we will like it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think somebody in the YouTube channel is saying, never thought I'd see this kind of stuff in my lifetime, right?
Yeah, it's 1980. What we thought was fiction, 1984. What we thought was fiction is completely, it's wrong to not go along with groupthink. They want ultimate control of, with the whole digital dollar thing, of every single dollar that you spend, which makes it basically, it's going to open up the black market for the guns in America like nobody's ever seen, because I'm not going to walk into a gun store and purchase a gun that uses digital currency, and then they know, the government knows that I have a specific gun, and then how many bullets that I've purchased for that gun or something like that. Not because I need to do anything nefarious with it, just because they want to know where the targets lie.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And so, let me just give a full disclaimer here. There's one question that I think needs to be answered in terms of Alex Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think spiritually here for a moment, okay, Micah? Only because I think it's fair to ask, is Alex Jones a Christian? Now, I am not the final arbiter of this. Nobody is.
Right.
But, Scripture obviously tells us that we can examine somebody's fruit. We can look at their profession of faith. We can look at their theology, their doctrine. We can look at what kind of church they go to. We can tell by the evidence in their life whether or not they have a life that is actually comporting to the claims of biblical Christianity. And so just because I know, like, we're mentioning, he who must not be spoken of, he who must not be named, right? We're talking about a highly radioactive individual.
Mm-hmm.
And even more than that, Micah, within the Christian church, we're even talking about somebody that within the Christian church, you're not supposed to talk about. Except at dinner, sure. Right?
Yeah.
except after the conference is over and after the thing is over, then when you sit and talk over steak, then you can really talk about what you're looking at in terms of, people like Alex Jones or Joe Rogan or whoever people listen to nowadays.
Right.
Well, he who must not be named, I think, is important for us to qualify, at least from my perspective. You can come to your own conclusions, Micah, but from my perspective, as somebody that has followed Alex Jones probably closer than most, I would say that Alex Jones is not a Christian. And I say that only, I hope I'm wrong, but I say that from what I think is objective criteria. Number one, Alex Jones has made it very clear that he does not attend a local church. Alex Jones has made it very clear that he doesn't like churches, he doesn't trust churches, he doesn't go to church, and so essentially lives in open rebellion to the Word of God. Very sad. Alex Jones uses rank profanity at times. Alex Jones takes God's name in vain. Matter of fact, in this interview with Tucker Carlson, I was shocked they did some behind the scenes thing, and he blasphemed God's name. And of course, that is not conduct that is befitting the life of a Christian. Alex Jones has admitted that occasionally he does drugs. Occasionally he does, he smokes, gets high.
I think mushrooms specifically.
Yeah. Exactly.
Psychedelics.
And a lot of the immoral talk that he talks about. And so at the end of the day, anybody that lives in overt disobedience to the Word of God has kind of created their own religion. And then also Alex Jones is guilty of great sort of syncretism and paganism. Alex Jones has often conveyed to people that he's gone on visions and dreams, and he's been teleported into the third dimension, whatever that is, and that he was shown the archetypal plan by God and all this stuff. So sadly, if Alex Jones ever watches this, or anybody that knows him, I actually know people that know him directly, but if this ever gets back to Alex Jones, I would just say, look, I would challenge you to some of the claims that you have made, and whether or not they actually conform to the Word of God, and I'd say they don't. But he's also supporting and advancing false teachers like Rodney Howard-Browne. He's into stuff like that. He's into weird Pentecostal, radical, charismatic kind of. But I mean, I'm talking about like crazy fringe stuff. And so at the end of the day, I cannot give any confidence or credence to anyone that is going to engage in that kind of behavior seriously. I only say that, Micah, because he regularly claims to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And if he is a Christian, boy, he's got a lot of maturing to do. So anyway, that's talking about Alex Jones at a spiritual level. And I pray that Alex Jones really, truly one day comes to know Christ, really, truly walks in salvation and obeys and follows the word of God and takes the word of God serious, that it becomes his standard, his rule of faith, and that he lives his life in conformity to the word of God. But until he does that, I can't possibly give any credence to somebody's supposed faith when they engage in that kind of thing. But again, that's not why we're talking about Alex Jones.
Right.
We are not talking about Alex Jones because he makes crazy, conspiratorial predictions. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about Alex Jones because he may or may not be a Christian, or he's conservative or whatever, or he's pro-Trump or whatever. I've actually heard him make statements that he's against Donald Trump. So he, the guy can really shoot from the hip sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're talking about Alex Jones because he brings up and he's exposed things that I have been studying and interested in now for some years, relating to what I call the new apologetics. If we don't understand what globalism is doing in our lifetime, if we don't understand how globalism is affecting the way that people think, the way that people behave, the way that people live, affecting our culture, our politics, and our way of life, then we don't understand just how extensive something like globalism is. We have to absolutely talk about that. But the other thing is this. It's one thing that globalism is happening, that everyone is being thrown into one sort of geopolitical movement, into one globalist governance movement, into one, global socioeconomic system. That's one thing that comes with all kinds of dangers. But the other thing that Alex Jones talked about openly with Tucker Carlson is the issue of transhumanism. And the issue of transhumanism, of course, is what introduces us now to a whole different philosophy of life. And therefore, it is imperative for the Christian church to understand what is transhumanism, what are they purporting, what do they want to do, and when do they want to do this? And in order to kind of elaborate on those points right there, Micah, mm-hmm. I think it's only right that I read something out of Ray Kurzweil's famous book, The Age of Spiritual Machines.
Okay.
Before I do that, do you have any points you wanted to add to that, Micah?
No, I just want to go back to talking about the Alex Jones Christianity thing. And I think that, of course, he's a fellow Texan as well, and he lives down in the Austin area. And despite Austin being a liberal bastion of the state of Texas that it is, it's still in right there in the buckle of the Bible Belt, where cultural Christianity is a real danger. I mean, just like it is up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in the Houston area where I grew up, all these different things. So I think that it's really, really easy to consider yourself, oh, I'm a part of that group, because, I mean, if you say he's following Rodney Howard Brown, I mean, God have mercy on his soul. I mean, he's not even following the right guys to even understand what it is that is true Christianity, and not this, let's find whatever snake moves and whatever, healing thing needs to happen, but it's not really going to happen kind of a thing. So I think he's just confused. I wish that he would do the research that he does for these conspiracy theories that he comes out and he's 100% true on, and actually spend time in diving into God's word and understanding exactly what he's reading and understanding, and hearing from people who are actually discerning in and of themselves. Now,
no doubt
where that goes into the new apologetic, I mean, he is right on the money, and what you guys are saying are running in parallel tracks. You take it a different direction than he does. but it's parallel information. And you guys, from what I've heard from both of you, you're almost spouting off the same type of information and just drawing completely different conclusions that are both necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I want to obviously bring a refined Christian worldview theology to it. Eschatology is absolutely crucial. It's amazing that once you get really exposed to some of the factors in transhumanism, for example, especially now that out in the open is the CBDC conversation.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of Christian pastors and leaders and theologians who readily admit that this has caused them to think about the mark of the beast. I'm talking about premillennial brothers, amillennial brothers, postmillennial brothers. I don't care what eschatology you have. These things, you have to reckon with the technology and what's coming and what they are, in a sense, purporting that they're going to do. And therefore, it's something that everyone will have to grapple with, like it or not. And I tell you what, man, in his book, The Age of Spiritual Machines, this book was written in 1999. And in 1999, he makes predictions about the year 2009, 2019, 2029, and 2099. Okay? And just so you understand, back then, Kurzweil is saying this of 2019. Start there. $1,000 computing device, a computer, a laptop, is now, at that time, 2019, approximately equal to the computation ability of a human brain. Computers are now largely invisible and are embedded everywhere. These are predictions that he's making about what this year was supposedly going to look like. How much of this came true? I would say almost all of it. 3-dimensional virtual reality displays embedded in glasses and contact lenses provide the primary interface for communication with other persons. That it's on the way, partially there, partially developed. The web and virtual reality. Have you heard of Google Glass, for example? Right? They are attempting to do this. And in virtual reality, for sure. Most interaction with computing is through gestures and two-way natural language spoken computation or communication. And of course, in the metaverse, that's exactly what you're doing. You're using gestures. Even in your smartphone, you can actually gesture and the computer is moving along. Realistic, all-encompassing visual, auditory, and tactical environments enable people to do virtually anything with anybody, regardless of physical proximity. Enter in the metaverse. What was interesting about this is that, Micah, a long time ago, I did an episode on the metaverse, and I quoted Mark Zuckerberg as saying, when he introduced the metaverse, that you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want, and basically be anybody that you want to be. And that's what Kurzweil is saying would happen. He says people are beginning to have relationships with automated personalities as computers, as companions, as teachers, caretakers, and lovers. And what do you see happening right now, Micah, all over China? Wow. There are virtual chatbots that are preloaded with AI and large language models that people in China and Japan interact with at a feverish pace and have replaced many of their human interactions.
Right.
In Japan, it's so bad that there's a whole colony, there's a whole subculture of what are called shut-ins, basically, of people that basically live like hermits on the web, and all they do is interact with AI chat bots and people online. It's a very postmodern, very post-human type of dynamic that is developing. And again, this is all happening for Kurzweil the year 2019, and certainly we can say, well, a lot of that he got right. What about 2029? What's going to happen in 2029 according to Kurzweil? A $1,000 computer has the computing capacity of approximately 1,000 human brains. Direct neural pathways have been perfected for high bandwidth connection to the human brain. Now, what does that remind you of? Does that remind you of anything, Micah?
No, because it hasn't happened yet. It's 2029.
It's 2029, but what does that remind you of? Neural pathways with high bandwidth connection to the human brain. That's called Neuralink.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It is BMI technology. Neuralink is not the only company out there that wants to do this. You have other companies that are ahead of Neuralink and Elon Musk, like Neurexis, Synchron, and others. They're all working on some kind of neural augmentation.
Yeah.
He goes on. A range of neural implants is becoming available to enhance visual and auditory perception and interpretation, memory, and reasoning. And that's what these brain implants will supposedly be. Computers have read all available, listen to this now, Micah. Computers have read all available human and machine-generated literature and multimedia material. What does that remind you of? It should remind you of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is on the brink of coming out with a 5th generation chatbot algorithm, AI, whatever. And some people are saying it's going to be so smart and so capable that it's frightening. It's going to know everything. It's going to be exactly what Kurzweil is talking about here. Maybe not exact, but basically all human and machine generated literature can be downloaded into one algorithm, into one computation, into one computing system, in other words, and be available at the digital level. Finally, he says machines, listen to this now, by 2029, this is what I've been talking about, machines will claim to be conscious, and these claims are largely accepted. Now, let's talk about that. Where do we stand right now on self-conscious machines? Well, there are people like Yuval Noah Harari who are saying that, yes, this is coming. Machines will be given personhood, they will claim consciousness, and they will be part of the legislative system where they will be given basically human rights. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is in the book by Yuval Noah Harari, and that book is endorsed by who? That book is endorsed by none other than Barack Obama. I mean, I want you to try to wrap your brain around that, Micah. I mean, everybody out there, think about this for a moment. This happened when he was a sitting president. A sitting president is endorsing a book that is talking about giving personhood and consciousness to a machine. And you wonder why people think Alex Jones is crazy. Right?
It's because these other people are nuts. And he's pointing it out.
And then you wonder, wait a minute, maybe Alex Jones is more sane than we thought.
Exactly.
And then we're finding out who the real crazy people are.
Right.
Look, you can't make this up. Guys, just so you understand, being totally transparent and totally real here, I would much rather be studying Gerhardus Voss. I would much rather be sitting around reading Meredith Kline, Herman Bavinck, John Calvin. I would, Lane Tipton, my dear friend Lane Tipton, just recently gave me a PDF, and the theology is so rich and dense and academically advanced. I would want to do nothing but just have time to do that. Just read rich theology all day, nonstop. But I can't, because there is a hurricane outside.
Right.
And there is a tsunami coming. We're being warned about it. We're being told on the face of it all. We're being told. And I'm just wondering, as far as the Christian church is concerned, how many people are standing up and answering the call and responding to all of this Or do you still think this is nothing more than conspiracy theory? And I don't know, Micah. The more people I talk to and the more that I read, the less and less conspiratorial all of this is sounding.
Well, I think that you, me, some of the folks online that are watching with us right now, I think we're starting. I mean, you're much further down the path than I am, and I'm really starting to wake up to, man, he may not be batting 1,000, but he's batting 8 out of 10 or 800, and like maybe we should be listening to him because yes, while what turned me off initially about him is what is kind of proving to be right about him, where it's just so fantastical what he's saying that it's unbelievable. But now we're getting to the point where you remember whenever he said that, a year ago, well, now we're finally seeing it hit out into the Schwab saying it, Barack Obama saying it, or all the leaders of the globalist movement,
and the tech titans,
100%. Yeah.
I've told people about this resource before, but you need to run out and grab Amy Webb's book, The Big Nine. The Big Nine. Amy Webb, liberal professor from, I think, Harvard. But she wrote a book exposing the globalist dimensions of the 9 big tech giants that control basically the world's economy. Okay? And she has exposed how incredible and incredibly powerful these companies are in shaping the course of human history. I mean, it's that serious. And again, Micah, I want you to understand this. I want everyone to understand this. This is not an endorsement of Alex Jones. Right. This is not a wholesale endorsement of Alex Jones. I'm not trying to turn anybody on to Alex Jones, but I am telling you that what Alex Jones used to talk about 20 years ago has now become mainstream.
Right.
Has now become mainstream media. And now people are forced to have to talk about things like what we're talking about right now, which is transhumanism. Now, let me get to post-humanism, because Ray Kurzweil has one more chapter on a date, and that chapter is 2099. And you might say, what's funny, Micah, is that we might sit here and say, 2099, oh, I won't even be here.
It's the first thought that came to my head.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm out of here. It's over. I checked out my course. I ran my race. I finished the course. It's over for me, right? Mm-hmm. But honestly, man, a generation ago, 2 generations ago, people didn't think like that. People always thought multi-generationally. They always thought way ahead. They always thought about their future posterity, their children, their family, and all of these things. And if we love our kids and we care about our posterity, understand that 2099 is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And this is what he envisions for 2099. He's not alone, by the way. I will say this. Just for people out there, if you're interested, let me name some others that you need to know. Damian Broderick, Max Moore, Natasha Vita-Moore, Werner Vinge. These are many of the leading transhumanist proponents that are out there. Marvin Minsky, even though he's passed away. Go read his stuff. Go listen to his audios. Go watch YouTube videos by Marvin Minsky. These people are all in unison, though they may differ here and there and postulate this or that. They might differ on the timing of things. They might differ on the exact nature of things. But go read and listen to these people. They are predicting a post-human world. Go read Hans Marovich, Robot by Hans Marovich. Go read Go read Mind Children by Hans Marovich. I was reading it the other day. He talks about human beings in the past tense. We're no longer around. After 2029, after 2199, somewhere around there, we're gone. We've been replaced. We have been eclipsed. We're nothing. We've been reduced to the level of an amoeba. We're a virus. We're nothing compared to intelligently AI-generated robots which he calls mind children, the children of our mind. We gave birth to them. That's what he's saying. And sorry, yes, it's Skynet. Yes, it's Terminator. Yes, this is what we're talking about, okay? And we shouldn't be surprised because Ray Kurzweil told us a long time ago this was all coming. Mm-hmm. He says this, there's a strong trend. In 2099, there is a strong trend toward a merger of human thinking with the world of machine intelligence that the human species initially created. Notice already, the human species, we're just one species among others. That's really what's behind that statement, by the way. There is no longer any clear distinction. Listen to this. By 2099, there's no longer any clear distinction between humans and computers. This is by 2099, according to Ray Kurzweil. This is what they are pursuing, Micah, and everybody out there. This is what they are pursuing with religious fervor, fanatical zeal.
That's the part that I don't understand right there, is that why are they so just, you use the right word, religiously like promoting this as if this is going to be their savior?
Yeah, it's radical life extension technology that they're after. It is expressed. It's out in the open. I've read the position papers on this. I've read the scientific papers on this. They are looking for radical life extension technology that will advance us to humanity 2.0. Now, be very clear out there. People are like, well, what was Emilio talking about? So, it's some crazy stuff about robots and cyborgs. And okay, great. But make sure you make this qualification. I don't actually believe in post-humanism. I do not believe we will achieve post-humanist reality, that we will become humans 2.0, that we will become something other than what we are. Okay? I do not believe that at all. I think, and this is where I may have to show my eschatological cards, Micah, because I believe somehow, whether God ordains it in history through something like war, I don't know, or whether God puts an end to history in the parousia judgment of Jesus Christ and his return. I don't know. But I do know that we will never go from being in the image of God to something else.
Yeah.
That's absurdity.
Yeah.
And it's not what the Christian worldview allows. So there's a great kind of ironic, comforting thing here at the end, and maybe we'll talk about it. Let's go on here. Ray Kurzweil says, by 2099, the end of the century, he says here, most conscious entities do not have a permanent physical presence. In other words, the majority of thinking things in this world will be artificial. They will be in the cloud. They will not have physical form. Interesting. He says here, machine-based intelligences derived from extended models of human intelligence claim to be human. There you go.
Yeah.
So in other words, robots that have the kind of intelligence that humans created will inevitably claim a kind of intelligence that is itself human. See, that doesn't make as much sense as somebody like me that has read a book like this and that has read stacks of other books like this, where what are human beings at the end of the day for these people? You know what we are? According to Yuval Noah Harari, we are
machines.
Computation. We're computation. That's all we are. We are just computation. And he calls it the data religion that has emerged. Okay? And because we have been reduced to the level of computation, something like human consciousness is computation as well. It might be mysterious. We may not have an answer for it yet. But everything has some sort of technological answer for these people. Everything. Even the nature of a human being. Ray Kurzweil continues. Most of these intelligence are not tied to a specific computational processing unit. If you didn't watch the latest, Micah, if you didn't watch the latest Mission Impossible,
haven't, no.
I'm shocked that you've watched that, that you haven't watched that. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to listen. What what is that about? Well, it's about a rogue AI.
Yeah.
That becomes like a living entity that has no what? It has no specific computational processing unit. That's basically what it is. Where do you think these films come from? The number of software-based humans vastly exceeds those who still are using native neuron cell-based computation. In other words, the vast majority of thinking things and thinking people in the world by 2099 will not be people using the brains that you were born with. And if you are, he's not done with you yet. He's not done with you yet if you are. He says here, even among those human intelligences that still use carbon-based neurons, there is ubiquitous use of neural implant technology, Neuralink, that provides enormous augmentation of human perceptual and cognitive abilities. Isn't it amazing, Micah, that people are so gullible they can't figure this out? Elon Musk comes out, he gives a 2-hour demonstration on how Neuralink is going to work. And he talks about how amazing this is going to be for disabilities and, neurological disorders and things like that. And the capacity that it will have to heal paralysis and all kinds of stuff. And by the end of the presentation, he's talking about the fact that he can't wait till one day he's walking out on stage with the Neuralink in his head. I'm sorry, did I miss something? Does Elon Musk is he paralyzed? Does he have a neurological disorder? Why does he need a computer chip in his head if there's nothing wrong with him?
Right.
It's because that's never the application. It never was. That's never the point. It never was the plan to create computer chips to go in your head to help with your health.
Yeah. It's a great excuse, but that's not what the end goal actually is.
Yeah. Humans who do not utilize such implants are unable. Here we go. This is you and I. This is you and I, Micah. We are unable to meaningfully participate in dialogues with those that do. So you and I will not be able to dialogue with people who are neurologically augmented. We won't even have the brain capacity to do it. Because a lot of what these folks are purporting is that type of communication in the future will be almost telepathic. We'll almost not even need words. It's utter insanity. And then last sentence here, because I know you're getting scared and I want you to have a good night's sleep tonight. Don't you? You got to love me, right?
Yeah.
Life expectancy is no longer a viable term in relation to intelligent beings. That's the tip of the iceberg, everybody. I can show you book after book after book after book. Transhumanist Reader by Max Moore. That's the one that you want. If I could, this you can't really see it back here, but I have a bookshelf here with all sorts of different books and stacks of things that talk about all this. These are supposedly some of the leading people in the field of thought. What do we make of all of this? This is what the new apologetics is all about. To say, what is the image of God? What is the essence of man? What is the nature of man? What is creation? What does it mean to be artificial? What does it mean to construct a world that runs on artificiality? What does it mean to have a globalist world that is united in a single socio-economic system. What does that do for our understanding of our commitment to the gospel, our commitment to Christian principles of identifying human beings sexually speaking? These things are going to have major repercussions for the church in a very short order. And I pray and I hope, guys, I pray and I hope that the projections of these transhumanists are wrong. I hope and pray that what they're projecting is off, that God will confound and suppress, and that he will hinder the progress of these kinds of developers and engineers and physicists and robotics experts and things. But if you look out at what's going on, there seems to be nothing slowing it down. The CBDC, central banking digital currency, a digital ID belonging to some sort of online digital identification system preloaded with a kind of credit score apparatus. Well, that's just logic in the minds of these people. That's just logical. It's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And what has to happen if this kind of technology is going to actually come to fruition. These people can't wait for it to do so. And for the rest of us as Christians, we need to reintroduce into the Christian church what I told your church, Micah, when I was there speaking on this issue. Mm-hmm. Is we need to reintroduce a theology of suffering and even martyrdom. And some of you will just write me off as, whatever, an alarmist, fearmonger, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, when your bank account is connected to an ethical system that dictates who you should vote for, what political affiliation you can have, who you can follow on social media, whether or not you supported the latest Pride event. I tell you what, we're gonna find out really quick. And when this little conservative firewall around us right now that exists, if God does not show mercy, if God does not if he does not suppress these things, if he doesn't stall these things, and we see more and more of the firewall of conservatism fall apart, it's going to get very, very real for the Christian church very, very fast. I hope God does it. I hope certain elections win out and certain political, ideology wins out that will be pro-human, that will protect the rights of Christians and the church. But I tell you what, we are living in interesting times, and these kind of ideas are not being talked about enough in the Christian church. So tonight, I thought I'd bring that up to say, look, when Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson decided to do this, Micah, they kind of broke the internet. But even more than that, they kind of put it out there that, hey, these things are here. Like it or not, you're going to have to talk about it. You're going to have to deal with it. And what is the Christian church doing about it? How are we preparing people as far as all this goes? So anyway, that's all I have for today, unless you have any questions or anybody out there does. But
no, we got some movie reviews, some other stuff just talking up. But it seems like we've had some good interaction on the chat. So that was a fun thing tonight. So
good.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Good. So great. Well, if you haven't so far, if you want to learn more about the new apologetics, I go into great depth about it. You just go to Red Grace Media, go to the YouTube channel, jump on the playlist, and look up the new apologetics, and you can get far more equipped by going through. I got about 10 hours of information there. So I hope that you'll do that. Until next time, I suppose, Micah, we did it live.
Yep, did it live.
Man, I'm proud of you. I knew you had it in you the whole time. I know what you're so afraid of.
Yeah, it's always been me.
Yeah, that's right. You like how I pushed that off on you, right?
Yeah. Now I'm terrified that my daughters are about to bust in the room, but other than that, it's all you.
Let them in. I'm sure they'd be a lot more fun to interact with than you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, everybody. God bless you guys. Till next time. God bless.
God bless, guys.